to share with you our data on trampoline-related injuries in Schneider Children's Medical Center. So trampolines are a popular recreational activity, both at home and in large trampoline centers. And there's an ongoing increase of use of trampolines ever since it was first introduced in 1936 and through the 50s and vastly in the past 10 years. And this increased use has led to an increase in the trampoline-related injuries. As the incidence and the severity of the injuries has increased with the popularity of large trampoline centers, we faced a new challenge for the medical staff and for the emergency departments and for the pediatric orthopedists. We see more serious injuries, fracture rates of 29% till up to 80% in various studies. So we also noticed in Schneider this alarming trend of the injuries and their severity, and we wanted to gather more information about the injuries, the demographic features, the severity of the injuries, and to determine risk factors for those injuries. It is a retrospective charts review. It was done between the years 2015 and 2018. I would like to point out that the first large trampoline center in Israel was opened in the late 2015. It was in Petah Tikva. We took all trauma cases with orthopedic-related injuries, and we overall identified 23,248 injuries with the orthopedic trauma coding. We had 254 trampoline-related injuries, and 10 were readmissions. So that's about 1% of the injuries. It's the same to the literature. And we reviewed the venue of injury, body area of injury, the type of injury, type of fracture, the treatment, pointed out complications, and the follow-up recommendations. So here's our results. You can see that boys were injured the same as girls. The largest age group that was injured, they were 6 to 12 years old with 46%. The most frequent body part that was injured was the lower limb with 53%. And we also saw that children under the age 6 suffered more lower limb fractures, whereas the older children, and especially the group of 6 to 12 years old, suffered more upper limb injuries and fractures. You can see that the rate of fracture is pretty high. It's almost 50% of all injuries. And children under the age 6 suffered more fractures than the other age groups. A third of the children were treated with cast and no reduction, but we have 15 cases of closed reduction and casting under sedation, and 16 cases that needed surgery, either open or closed reduction with internal fixation. We had 9 complications, and about a quarter of the children needed a long-term follow-up due to concern to growth plate disturbances. I would like to show you a few of the cases just that you can see our experience and that those injuries are a little bit more severe than other injuries. This is the first case. It's a 10-year-old girl, and it's an open tibia fibula fracture. It was caused by collision, so another child jumped on her leg, and she was treated with surgery. Our second case is a 16 years old. Also tibia fibula fracture. He was also treated with surgery, but he had a complication of a delayed union. And the third case, it's an 8-year-old. You can see the medial condyle fracture. Also surgery. So about home versus large trampoline centers. So we saw the same rate of fractures, but we wanted to go deeper, and we defined serious injuries or serious fractures as fractures that needed either a reduction or a surgery. So we can see there are 3 times more serious injuries when the child was injured in a large trampoline center. And that's the yellow bar. I also wanted to show you the trend over time with the years of the research. So we do see the same amount of emergency department admission. That's different from the literature that sees a growth over time. But we can see there are more fractures. That's a rate from the total injuries, and there are more serious injuries. So what are our recommendations based on the literature and our data is that only 1 child needs to be on a trampoline at a time because collision causes fractures. If there is more than 1 child, it has to be the same size, but probably better not. Falling off a trampoline is also a major cause of injury, so a safety net could be useful. And restrict participation to 6 years and older because they have more fractures and serious injuries. Those recommendations are also supported by the American Academy of Pediatrics. What about the future? We probably need to get more information about the injuries and the risk factors, home trampoline versus large center trampolines. There are a lot more parks. The first one was in 2015, but now we have one in each city. Test protective measures and publish current recommendations to the public.